Hi friends, my name is Ludwig and I'm DevRel contributor at Near DevHub. I would like to welcome you to the Tools community call. Those are informal sessions where we share updates, discuss and present tooling projects from the ecosystem. If you want to get involved, join and reach out in our Telegram group. Today, we have a special session that we are going to discuss wallet selector, near API.js, among our regular updates. And today, I am very happy to be joined by a lot of great names around our ecosystem, including Mike, Josh, Vlad, Bowen, who is head of protocol and Neo1, Guillermo as the head of DevRel, Trentin, and many others. Also, we can see down in the corner below is Zahid. Nice to see you. So, the discussion topics, as I said today, we will focus around the near API.js and wallet selector, which wallet selector currently had, recently had another update, and we see that there starts to become a little bit cumbersome, not only for the people who are using it, but also for the maintainers. And speaking of which, we have Trentin on the call. And I would like to bring you up, Trentin, and if you can tell us a little bit more about in what state is currently the wallet selector.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're really excited about talking about this, especially to get some input from the community as well. There's several Telegram groups that you could do that. We'll talk about that here in a moment. So we just did a release. It's a moderate release, 8.10.0, just went out here yesterday. You can check on the GitHub there. Yep, you'll see the release. The release has a link of all the PRs that went out in it. We have a couple new packages, and it's the current state of it is that it's still working really well. You can load it up. There's the React. There's a couple different test harnesses basically built into the repo where you can just kind of run a local React server, a node server, with like a little React app that like lets you test out the wallet selector. So there's instructions in the README on how to do that. It's actually really straightforward. And so it gets tested. My friend Guillermo was really instrumental in helping us do this last release and doing a lot of testing on his local machine and making sure that things were flying. We got some new packages from Meteor, a new React parser. So there's just some stuff, some improvements. We're shooting for a new major release, a 9.0 release here very soon. That's going to include some breaking changes. So we're going to be kind of merging some things into the dev branch and asking our partners in crime out in the world to pull that down and test it with their packages and kind of see what might break and what we can do to stop it from breaking before we release it into the wild. But this next release is going to be really important to test really well. So I'm doing a lot of communications. There's a few Telegram groups out there. You can start by going into the Wallet Builders group in Telegram. That's a good place to ping me. You'll see me posting there pretty frequently. I have built a private wallet selectors development group in Telegram. It's invite only. I'm trying to keep the spam down. I don't want a lot of advertising in there. I want a lot of shout outs for new coin offerings and things like that. So it's a private group just for devs. If you are a wallet selector dev or you'd like to be one or like to integrate that package, that's a great place for us all to kind of crowdsource info, challenges, integration problems, that kind of stuff. And so that's a good place to do that. So yeah, the near tools community group is also another place. I'm shouting out now in there for new releases of the wallet selector to keep everybody on the same page as well. I also do announcements on Reddit. We do have a Near protocol Reddit. I don't know if it was started by anybody in the Near protocol. It's kind of the Wild West, but I do shout out in there once when I'm doing releases as well, just to catch new people and see what they're up to. But wallet selectors are in a pretty good state. One of the things that I wanted to point out is that we are looking for a new group of maintainers. So I'm a lone cowboy here, trying to keep this thing rocking and rolling. And I've gotten some help from my friends. I've joined Near Dev, so I'm a senior TPM at Near Dev, And so I've got some new partners in crime that are DevRel experts and they're devs, and so they kind of get it. So it's kind of helping me out, people reviewing PRs and making sure that we're not breaking stuff. So that's been great. But we really would like a team to be working on it. And my RFP, I'm gonna try to find a link for it for you here real quick. Give me a second. I'm going to post a link in the chat for this. I wrote the RFP with help from people in the infrastructure committee and from DevRel, from DevHub, and it's really particular. So it's created a little bit of controversy because I'm being really picky about what I'm looking for someone to help me out. And part of that just has to do with the fact that just like any code repository where you bring in a bunch of opinionated devs and they start plowing away at it over the last couple of years, it's been maintained by different people. So your code base starts to get a little bloated. There's some technical debt there. And so I would really like to see some shoring up of the code base. Increasing test coverage is important to me, so that people, when they're integrating a new package, I'd like to see some real good integration tests. So when you integrate a new package, you can just run the suite of tests and get a really good idea of whether it's going to work or not. I would also like to see improvement in the continuous integration, continuous development department. Right now, it's a very manual process. We use a pretty typical main branch, dev branch development process, but then you have to go in and manually bump all the versions of the packages, right? So it's kind of a monorepo, right? Where it has the core package, so wallet selector / core, and then you have a whole series, 20, 25 packages that you can implement on your version of wallet selector, depending on what kind of wallets that you want to support with your dApp. So each one of those packages is separately maintained, and then added to the wallet selector. So each of those versions have to be bumped. Obviously, there's interdependencies there, so those dependencies have to be looked at. And I'd like to automate that a little bit more so that you could use like GitHub Actions and published npm, and kind of have some automation of their running the tests, making sure everything's squared away. So there's definitely some low-hanging fruit here for someone to take this on and make a proposal. The link that I just shared in the chat, where you can read the request for proposal, right? So this is kind of a spec, and then submit a proposal, and you can get a grant from the infrastructure committee to take over the maintenance of wallet selector. And one of the things that we're hoping to do is taking this input from the community, so both from end users, but also really importantly from devs, right? From people that are implementing this package, that want to see more functionality, want to see compatibility. We would like to see that improved. So we're looking for that. We have stuff coming down the pipeline, like multi-chain support and near intents, that we're going to want to see some integration with as well. So yeah, but I won't let it go. So this is my cause. It's something that's very important to me and near and dear to my heart. So I'm always keeping my finger on it, even while I'm busy with other stuff. So we'll keep putting releases out, hopefully weekly or bi-weekly. We're still integrate packages, and we're going to look for somebody who is at least somewhat passionate about it, that will take it over and improve it so that it will improve in the future.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks a lot. One of the biggest issues that we had for a while was the dependency mismatch between your API.js and wallet selector, and that's been like a very big beta, if I might use the correct term for it. So I believe that the entire community is very happy that now this is out of the way. What are the immediate problems that you see for a wallet selector at the moment? Well, be it with near API.js or like solely by wallet selector package.
Yeah, I think we fixed the near API.js dependency. I would say it's kind of a toss-up between the automating the build process, so that in the publish process, but But like I said, I think that one of the things that'd be really helpful would be like a solid integration suite. So when somebody puts a new package in to the wallet selector, they can basically spin that up, run the tests, and make sure that their integration is going to work with everything. So, for instance, we just we fixed up the ledger integration for wallet selector, right? So now you can just use the wallet selector, connect directly with your ledger, and sign a transaction, which is really fantastic because I'm a ledger user. I don't know about the rest of you, but so it's nice to have the integration. So yeah, I think that's the low hanging fruit. I would love. The other thing that's I think is going to be really important is just a review of the code from both a security perspective and from a code quality perspective. Right, that's why I'm really excited about finding a team that can dive in there, because I'd really like to see some refactoring going on just to make sure that it's up to speed with our standards in the ecosystem and our security standards. So. Yeah, no, Vlad, I don't think it does. Ledger doesn't, and Ledger, the Ledger core, the Ledger wallet, Vlad asked if it supports named accounts, and it doesn't. And neither does the internal Ledger Live, right? The Ledger Live app itself does not support near named accounts. And we've been talking with both the group that helped us integrate Ledger into the Near ecosystem, as well as the Ledger folks themselves, but it just hasn't been a high priority for them. So we're still poking and asking for that.
I mean, there is no need for support from the Ledger itself because you're talking to the Ledger device, basically. It's a matter of implementation inside the wallet selector UI, but let's take it offline.
Cool.
Amazing, thank you. Since, as I said earlier in the call, we are joined by some of the very active builders around Near. I would like to ask anyone who has something to add, or they had some feedback for Wallet Selector. Just a reminder, this call would also be shared within the wider community. So I think if you have any ideas, suggestions, or opinions, I think it's good to have them out. And so more people start to collect everything into the hopefully the right direction. So if anyone wants to add anything for Wallet Selector at the moment, that would be about now the time. Otherwise, go ahead.
I think we have a lot of opinions here.
Yeah.
That's very good. So it's good to have opinions, of course. I imagine that the truth, or it would be something in the middle, but having all of you on the same place and sharing them all in the same call, I think it's a nice way forward. So Zahid,
yeah, so is it the key management and kind of if you want to kind of move from one wallet to another wallet, those mechanism, is it part of our Wallet Selector? Because traditionally it's very, very complicated, so it's a nightmare. So but I'm wondering why that should not be part of Wallet Selector, because is it different for different wallet? Or
yeah, I'm a huge fan of having packages and utilities and libraries that generally do one thing and one thing only. And the thing about the Wallet Selector is that it's literally helping you to select a wallet, right? There are 8 different wallets, 10 different wallets, 15 different wallets. They all have their own interfaces and etc. And to be honest, already dealing with the problem of being a package that allows you to, right, you just import something and now suddenly you can choose between 15 different wallets. Actually it's more we have we are counting with Trentin's 30 something, right? That's already an important problem to be solved. And handling keys is more on the wallet itself already, right? Or maybe even for another application where it's hey, log in here with your wallet, we help you to transfer. But I will personally, keep it away from the wallet selector, because so the wallet selector does not need to do 3 different things, right? It does one, which is like allow you to connect using whatever wallet you want to your account. Trentin, I think that you raise your hand after.
Yeah, and as the person that project managed the transfer wizard, which was a mechanism on the wallet site, which was supposed to allow you to do that transfer, we also had a key cleanup mechanism, but it was largely confusing and caused, in my estimation, probably caused more problems than it helped. So as it stands right now, in my opinion, it's a lot easier to take your full access key or your ledger and go find the wallet that you like in the ecosystem, and we have a bunch of them, and move your account over. And I think by being deliberate about it, it also is more secure as far as from a user's perspective. There's a lot less user error involved there. So they get to choose the wallet they want to and just import your key. It's pretty straightforward in my opinion. So yeah, that mechanism is very difficult to facilitate, and I have a lot of experience trying to facilitate that, and it was rough. So
I wonder what this move from wallet to wallet even means, because the wallet does not own the account. And if you have the access key, if you have the seed phrase or private key or ledger, you just go to another web app and you log in, import the account there. So I'm a bit confused about this communication. I think we need to educate users more on this aspect, that they can actually go to any UI out there. I'm wondering how, I think emails is a good example, and at the same time, I wonder if it is obvious for people that they can use different email clients, or they just stuck with, for example, Gmail mobile app, and that's all they think they can use. So maybe it's the same problem, maybe it's different. I have other opinions, but I see Sasha wanted to comment on this specific topic, so I'll stop here. Sasha?
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you guys. Long time. I have my question is kind of more organizational one, right? Like I've been with Near for more than 4 years already, and for me personally, it's always has been a little bit of a struggle, right, to provide my feedback to the entity which accepts it, right? Like this is like the story of any early developing project. But anyways, like for now, like we have that document. Like it's a little bit like weird, but still, you know, like this is the purpose, right? To initiate, like people just throw their ideas, like maybe their major pain points, right, to the document without polishing it, like without creating RFP or whatever, like all that thing, like so. Just to get the honest feedback from people from the trenches. And my question is, like, for as this state, like with wallet selector, do we have a product owner, like, or like no, right? Like yeah, and
not at the moment, and that's what we are actually looking for.
Yeah, exactly. No, don't get me wrong, right? Like I'm like in the same trench with you guys, right? It's not just like some Sasha, random Sasha came from any. So like the okay, so yeah, so what is the next step? Like do we wait for the person that somehow like appears like one way or another and leads this this direction?
How I see it is that Trentin already prepared the RFP with a bunch of his experience and details about how to manage it right going forward, and his recommendations. Published it as part of the infrastructure committee RFP. And we need to find the team, but obviously probably there is no such a team that is immediately available. So we need to grow the team out there. And the ideal way is to bring, so this today's call is our next step after the RFP, is to discuss the challenges that we all foresee for anyone to take such a big project on their shoulders, including mentioning that it's a lot of product work. It's a lot of discovery work. It's a lot of probably user research and user feedback collection from teams like, so there are users of Wallet Selector, right? And there are new projects that are emerging out there that are not using Wallet Selector. So it's obvious that there is something missing, and we need to find what are the features that are missing out there. For example, Near AI Hub and Near Intents, they're not using the Wallet Selector, at least not directly. And yeah, today's call was the idea behind it was the idea to collect the feedback, capture this recording, and attach it to the RFP. So it's a good reference for anyone taking the notes and what. Yeah, we're saving them a little bit of time on doing this research. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Almost. So if you imagine we are in the perfect world, right? So can we ask go back Trentin or anyone else, or I don't know, crowdsource the initial steps, so like somebody can go through the document, and create at least a very simple, plan, or we can vote for the main painful stuff. So should be addressed immediately or yesterday or something like that. So we can move forward, not just have another call, another doc, another Telegram group. And
I mean, RFP is it's a request for proposals. So that kind of proposal is what we will be voting on. So it's up to the.
And I can answer. I can from your perspective.
Trentin, please.
It would be amazing if, for instance, I could set aside some of the other priorities I have, dive into the Wallet Selector code base, and come up with my wish list, plan. I don't currently have the bandwidth to dive into that for full time, unfortunately. But sure, you're right. We need a plan. So that's why we're trying to find a group who will dive in, absorb the code base, understand it, and then do that product work, right? So get a better idea of what's the low hanging fruit, and what's the highest priority, and then prioritizing those things, and then coming back to us with the plan. And then when I come back to us, come back to the community as well, right? And say, this is what we discovered. This is what we want to do going forward. What do you guys think? And getting feedback into what the priority should be.
I would like to hear.
I mean, it's two sides, code base and real world, right? The features. So let's coordinate both if possible. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, since we have Vladimir, who is active builder on Near, we also have Elliot and quite a few other people. I would like to ask for other opinions, or other issues that active builders have been hitting regarding Wallet Selector. And then we can talk a little bit about Near API JS as well, because unfortunately, in the recent months, it has seen less love than it needs to, and with the current developments, it would also require quite a lot of work as well. And we actually have some solo effort like Mike's, who at one point tried to reinvent it himself in order to work a little bit to make it work better for him. But more on this a little bit later. So anyone else from the community builders who would like to address stuff around Wallet Selector? No,
One thing is like recently for projects, there isn't really an interest in selecting multiple wallets for at least different products being built. So like that's just something to consider for consumer applications. Do we actually see us pointing them to wallets, or yeah, creating, you know, we kind of like we offload a lot of the onboarding onto specific wallets. And I think that kind of gets a little difficult, especially considering Near's account model. I think that we can like, I don't know, I think we could think better about it maybe just a little bit more. And then the other thing was, Mike, happy that Mike's in here because
dude,
yeah,
love you, man.
Spent all this time. I think you know, I was following what you were working on, and you really brought to attention that whole types, how we have pretty terrible type definitions across all of Near API JS and Wallet Selector, where they're not even like real type definitions. They kind of just like conflict with each other, or their classes, or something like that. It's tough working with Near API JS and Wallet Selector because of how none of these types fit together. We don't really, or you're importing a package just so that you can use a type or something like that. It's really messy in that way. So that might be a pretty easy first grab, is if we could pull all that work that Mike did, that ultimately I don't know where it has ended up, but I think that would be great to use and pull out all those types.
I was hoping to demo later. Yeah.
Right.
I do want to say just really quickly, it kind of in response, like this is the way that I'm thinking about this, because I'm like deep into like JavaScript land now. My brain is like a lot of the stuff that happened with Wallet Selector and Near API JS is like very weird. So like we all learned it the hard way, and there's no expectation that we should have thought that this would happen, right? So like, you know, I won't go into too much, but like the class system, like when you're passing around class instances, even for TypeScript types, like JavaScript like really screws you over in a really weird way. And so I could talk about this for a long time, but like I'm just mainly imparting that like it's not like we messed up. Like this stuff is hard. And making like a plugin system is hard. And we did it like kind of the wrong way with classes, and that's okay. But then when you do it the wrong way and you find out, then you just move on, you know, to the new one. So like there's no blame going on. This is like super duper hard. I just wanted to say that because I don't know, I was so excited to see Elliot and I wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, in general,
to recognize the fact that it's hard, and there are a lot of different approaches, and the state of Wallet Selector is very influenced by the state of Near API JS. That is why whenever I'm talking about Wallet Selector, I'm usually also bringing up the topic of Near API JS and how it plays a crucial role to make things easier or harder if it's done not right or right. So, and I'd like to just say that there are like pure technical challenges, like so adding more features to the Wallet Selector, such as signing messages, meta transaction support, or getting the signed transaction back from the wallet, and then be able to send it over as part of the application on the application level instead of wallet doing it for you. And then you have more control about displaying the actual status, or you know, pretending that it's already went through and do optimistic like application display of the information going forward. But also there are challenges on the like a product side or coordination side. As Guillermo already mentioned, there are over 30 wallets out there, and it requires each of the wallets to contribute something of those support. They have different platforms, different use cases, and different set of features supported. So it's a nightmare. And also there is a need for decision from someone who will maintain the wallet selector, how to enable as many wallets available out there for the developers without asking the developer manually picking one at a time and testing and retesting each of the wallets, and ideally even upgrade it smoothly and transparently without needing the wallet, the developer to upgrade their code and redeploy. But maybe that's too risky if we upgrade those outside in the iframe or something. Maybe that would break things. So there is a lot of challenges on the way. And as Mike pointed out, it's not that we just messed up. It just it is a really hard problem to solve in the first place.
Yeah, well, one of the community feedbacks that we have seen in the public channel was like a suggestion is to basically, well, not drop, but not endorse wallet providers who are not maintaining up to standard like requirements. For example, I don't know, be it signing transactions or supporting meta transactions or whatnot. So I think that this would help of putting structure of at least what we are providing for the users to experience. But also, like as you mentioned, most of these wallets have their specific use cases. So this would be a hard one to even this, like, although that I see it as a direction forward, would be hard thing to implement. But yeah,
I'm kind of worried about that. I feel like the wallets are like waiting for, like the maintainers to like fix it and stuff. And if they heard right now that like, oh, we actually need you to, like it's sort of the other way around right now. Like I think it's pretty obvious that things need to get fixed. So I'd be really careful about like telling the devs who are here when they could be at a much bigger blockchain that they're doing something wrong. We can't do that, in my opinion. It's like our responsibility, and it has been our responsibility, so we just gotta like do it, and it's gonna suck. Or it did suck, or part of it sucked, but
I mean,
no way
one
around it.
solution would be to introduce better like API level a bit for mobile wallets we do this, for web wallets we do that, and then each wallet would be just a configuration of the endpoint, and that's it, and everything else should be basically universal, and then we can drop dedicated support for each wallet out there and replace it with just a set of icon and the link.
I do want to point out too that like, so we had a fastnear like a whatever retreat here in Portland, and like got a lot done, and God, what was I going to say about this? What were you just saying, Froel? Sorry. All right, I'll come back to this in my talk. There's a lot to go over.
Yeah, well, we agree that we all agree that there has been like these issues between near API JS and the wallet selector, and we also, I believe that we can agree that if we are thinking about it as a stack, near API JS is the underlying architecture. We can say that needs to be addressed, and type system is consistent type system is one of the issues that we have seen. We've seen like previous pushes to, I think, I might be wrong, but was it near JS, which was kind of a spin-off of, or at least like a different version of near API JS, if I'm correct. So I think that this brought up like some different perspective of how things might be done, which would lead me to your effort, Mike. If you can talk a little bit about what you have been doing on the site. I've seen pretty lengthy Twitter posts, but also like on the Tools community call where you presented your work. But if you can show us what you have been experimenting with, I think that would be nice.
Awesome. Yeah, this is actually like really weird, actually. So like 2 days ago is when they finally like came together, and it's like this almost killed. This is probably like maybe the hardest thing I've ever done. Like I bit off way more than I could chew, way more. but like I somehow survived, and I'll have to take a nap after this. And I was up till like 2 a.m. trying to like get this ready, but it's we'll still do the ceremony here. So like it's almost like hard to explain. Like I didn't really realize how this worked before, but like I'm sure we've seen, so on the browser or the console on the left, we've probably seen like, whoops, buffer.from, and you try to do that in your console, right? And it's like, I don't know what the hell buffer is, right? And like I've always kind of like sort of known what that means, but it's basically like there's like JavaScript that's like ECMAScript, and that's like the module type that's like, you know, Node.js kind of stuff. And then there's like the browser environment. So there's like the browser environment, and there's like the node environment, and the node environment has buffer. So a lot of these cryptographic like Web3 libraries and stuff are using buffer, and like, you know, they're doing a bunch of byte stuff, and so they use Node.js. And actually, it was like last year at Proximity, I was trying to do something, and it was like so hard for me to, I just could not figure out near API.js. And so I did a bunch of stuff to where it's compiling down to CommonJS, and it's compiling into an IIFE, which you know, we can talk about later. And by the way, shout out to Guillermo. I see that you're doing some similar stuff with the Borscht, which really helped, by the way. So all that to say, like, here is like, this is like really, really strange, but because the entire library is compiled down to CommonJS, this sucker can now find it. So there is no buffer. So it's never going to throw this crap, right? So near.view, we're gonna call Berry Club inside the frickin' console. And like, this is like the actual code. Like, this is what you paste in your JS, is this. So I didn't even really realize this was like gonna happen. But you can do all kinds of stuff like that. So then this is the login. I'm just making it create session key. So Berry Club. So we're going to create session key, and oh, this little thing popped up. So this is like a wallet adapter, and then there's a wallet adapter widget package as part of this monorepo. And so this is an iframe, and actually Vlad and Eugene know way more about like iframes and stuff. Like the whole wallet adapter selector thing is too much for me to think about right now. So it's working. I don't know how, but it's in the code. And so you like click on my near wallet. Gonna sign in with Mike.near. And then we're back at this little like demo. And so even here, so we're going to literally sign a transaction. No, let's just like paste that. Let's see what happens. Pending update included in the blockchain. Executed. Boom. So it's actually signing everything like inside there, which is really, really weird. And this is exposed. This is exposed by this global near. So you can just do near.view, you know, and I can call a different smart contract if I want to. It's just like, oops, I should probably do await. So you can just do await right in the console. Anyway, maybe I'll just like pause for a second because this is like pretty weird. Anyone have thoughts or like seen this before?
I love this boss-like APIs. At the same time, I hate them. I can explain. The simplicity hides a lot of complexity, and it's great when you are dealing with this initially. But then, whenever you want to have more granular control, you'll be on your own. That's usually that's where near API.js seems to have started. Was like, let's do it magical and simple, and we ended up with the current state of things. Maybe I'm wrong. And
oh yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's almost like a softball. I wish I had these code snippets in front of me, but like, so you can freaking. I actually want to move this somewhere, but you can go like near.reexports.borscht. Cool. Now you have freaking Borscht. Cool. You want to call Borscht serialized? There's Borscht. All right, awesome. You want to use Borscht schema? Cool. You near.utils.schema. Boom. There's a Borscht schema. Now, signed transaction, cool. You want the signed transaction, Borscht schema, boom, it's right there. So you can like encode, decode, create a transaction, sign it, inspect it. You can do all that stuff. It's not like there's like, oh, you have to use these methods and we're doing a bunch of secret stuff behind the scenes. In fact, I think I'm exporting too many functions. I'm just like, you have access to everything, because I think that's the way to start right now. Especially with just like kind of I feel like what this is just like a save point, you know. It's like really weird and hard to say like, we don't know what to do with near API.js, and it's like we just need like a save point, like restart, can we do it like this way? And so the API, though, I think to your point, Prol, like I think it'd be really cool to have like even like little shortcuts. So it'd be like near.v is like view, near.vt is like view testnet. Like don't worry about the config, just go to testnet, dude. Like little things like that. So those are small like things that we can talk about. But yeah. Anyway, this is a path that is sort of finally broke ground, and I'm gonna publish this today. And I guess maybe this is an okay time to, we're like, you guys want to do it?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Oh, it's good. Everyone, close your eyes. Okay, cool. I'll pause that a bit. We can talk.
So is this built on top of Near API JS, or is like completely written from the ground?
So I was planning on taking Mir API JS, which is the version that I like forked basically, and then we got together, and Eugene, like, I don't know, he just has this stuff in his head, and like we just rewrote a ton of it. But then there are some parts where it was like, especially the wallet adapter widget, where I'm using Near JS imports instead of Near JS because those can't compile down the way that we want. So I would say it's maybe more like 60% rewrite than 40% reuse.
Interesting. And why did you go with an adapter instead of using the wallet selector?
I actually, dude, I'll be honest, I don't really understand, like, I don't understand this stuff like very well in my head. Like I'm like very in tune with what's happening with the API, but like I actually don't get it. And then there's this additional thing where we're passing it through iframes, and I feel like the boss on chain people like know this really well. I never really understood the iframes, so I don't have a good answer, to be honest.
Yes, like Ruben Marcus, meanwhile, writes in the chat, one issue of the Near wallet selector is that some of the wallets integrated were still using the old Near API JS, and the wallet selector itself isn't using the latest Near API JS. I don't think that this is still the case, that it's version 5. It's using version 4. So if you want to use Near API JS 5 on your application, you gotta have trouble. So yeah, and Trentin confirms that this should be one of the high priority fixes at the moment.
Guillermo, hasn't it fixed? I was under the impression that it was part of the announcements recently.
Yeah, as far as I remember, actually Denbyte made a PR to fix that to make wallet selector compatible with 4 or 5, so that should not be a problem. But I don't know if in specific packages they still hold like all dependencies. That might be a problem. But yeah. So if anyone finds one, please report it.
I would like to get like more takes on Near API JS. Anyone who wants to?
I can say something on Near API JS. Near API JS is a quite interesting library. I will double down on what Mike said, which is like it was not written like this on purpose, and also like what Vlad said. It's not that it's like cumbersome and and hard to use on purpose. It's just that it does something that is hard, and it went evolving, right? And it went evolving with our ecosystem. So there's something very interesting about Near API JS that right now it could actually be simplified a lot, because it used to be the only way to interact with Near, and therefore the only way, for example, to interact with a wallet. And now that's not the case anymore, right? Because a lot of this work is being done by the wallet selector, right? So there's a lot of things that we could just remove and simplify from Near API JS. And since we're kind of like 10 minutes away from finishing the talk, for anyone that is hearing, I would like to say that the hard part generally is not to find what we need to fix. That's very easy. You just, you just do yarn add Near API JS, yarn add wallet selector. You see all the problems, and already you know what you have to be working on. The hard part is to find someone that we all trust in the community that can take ownership. And ownership is more than just like making a PR from time to time. Ownership is, for example, like, Vlad can talk about it for the near CLI RS. I can talk about it for when I took the near CLI JavaScript. It's about you take the library, now you're kind of alone, and you have to make decisions. And after those decisions, you have to deal with the consequences, right? Which is like the community will like it, the community will not. Maybe you forgot like a dependency somewhere, something is broken, and you have to fix it. And that's why I want like people to not leave this meeting thinking like we don't know what to fix. We need someone to sit down that we can all trust, right? And say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take from now on the wallet selector and the near API JS on one of them. And then, there's a new release. Turns out that near API JS was updated. Okay, we have to fix it. It turns out that a lot of people is having problem when using the wallet selector in this place. Okay, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna review PRs. We all trust that you review PRs in the right way. We all trust that you're not gonna, like screw these packages, because here's the, the hardest part also. Like it or not, near API JS is one of the most downloaded libraries that we have out there. And that's also true for wallet selector, right? So it's not about maybe taking decisions. It's about like, right now they are in a way, near API JS is in a specific state just because, it has been evolving naturally. And now we need someone to take on it and make decisions and deal with those decisions and deal with the community. That's the hard part. Anyway, I went a little bit like, you ask a question, I answer another, but yeah, that's my take on near API JS. Vlad, I see you have your hand.
Yeah, and my very good point. I would only add that it's not even about near API JS or wallet selector. It's more about the developer experience and user experience. So what makes it really hard for wallet selector is because it's not just a library. It's actually a product. So it's a product that end users need to use and be very efficient at onboarding. So it's really the frontier of near experience. And it requires a lot of thinking, and we can solve different bits and pieces here and there, but the final product will not be there unless someone sits down and think from the point of view of onboarding the normies, the regular users. I liked the direction where near org fast auth went initially on the conceptual level, with simplifying the process as much as possible. I like how near intents is currently kind of taking another stab at it and trying to solve the onboarding experience themselves. I think Near AI Hub and Near Intents are actually much further down the line on that experience of making the maybe like signing with a passkey or signing with any wallet out there. So they are pushing the boundaries forward, and it's not only about like near wallet; it's about near experience. That's something I want to add. But near API JS was the core component for developers, so we can also start from that angle. But we need both.
This is sort of reminding me. I had a conversation with Eugene recently where I felt like I didn't really understand exactly what he was saying, and I was like, "How about this? How about since AI is so good now, I will just build everything like that I understand." And then if I did something wrong or we want to pivot, then I'll just put it in AI and we'll just do it really quickly, you know? So it's really like a different world we live in where like the planning isn't as important if AI can just like help us out and you can get it done in like 20 minutes, you know? So I try to keep that in mind, just like plow through, get the thing working, and then like pivot, and who cares? Like that's just sort of the vibe that I roll with right now.
I'm a bit concerned about that direction when we are talking about the libraries and dev tools, because the more pivots you have, the more users more developers and projects you kind of disturb and create turbulence for some time. If it's for no good reason, then it may detract more than
This time the reason is like fixing the entire experience with JavaScript. Yeah.
Any more takes on Near API JS that you feel brave enough to share? Anyone?
Any what?
I want to
more
touch on
takes?
like Ruben Marcus made a question, which is like, is there any roadmap in which the community could help? One concern I see some devs talking is that their PRs open for more than a year with no feedback. And this is exactly what I mean about like, this is exactly why we put the request for someone to come up and say, hey, I can help with this, because there's simply no one to look at those PRs. Like there's something that is hard to convey sometimes in the community, and it's like, what is, I'm gonna speak as myself, right? Like me, Guillermo, DevRel, head of DevRel in particular, right? Like there's a misconception on like what are some of our roles. And for example, like I have a job, right? Like, and which means that someone is paying me, but no one is paying me for maintaining, for example, like the wallet selector. The same happens with Trentin. Like that's the part where we become, not employees of whatever company, or not, like contributors, but like we become part of the ecosystem and people that care about Near and put their time. Like the update of the wallet selector, I did not do it under a salary. I did it on the weekend because I really want to see that shit working, right? Like, and excuse me, my French. And what is happening right now is like, we just don't have, like right now we are saying, hey, we want to pay someone to please come, look at the PRs, make decisions, and right, like, and take this to the next level. Because yeah, the PRs are open for a year, not because we don't care. It's just that we are all doing our jobs. It's the same way as everyone else in the community, right? Like no one else is maintaining it for the same reason that we are not, which is like, that's just not my job. And I just don't have time, and I do it on the weekends, right? And not every weekend I want to sit down and work on Near API JS or wallet selector. So to answer your question, Ruben Marcus, the best you can do is you can go and say, like, if you are, the senior that is like an expert in JavaScript and could help us, then apply to help on that. And if not, but if you know someone, just circulate it to them. Say, hey, did you know that these people is actually searching for someone to help? So yeah, that will be right now the best way. Like find candidates, and if you think that you are a good candidate, please apply. And like for anyone also listen to this, you're not gonna be in the void. Like you're gonna start with most probably some of us helping you. The whole idea is that after some time, we will really like to let your hand go, and you just keep doing the things in the right way.
And just to support this idea, I want to bring a different example how that works already in the Rust stack. So we now have the new revamped Near API RS library, which is also experimental, and people are like bringing their own feedback. But mostly it works, and there is a clear ownership, and the author, Arthur, who's not on the call, I believe, today with us, but he is very active now maintaining a lot of Rust tools in the ecosystem, gets totally fair compensation through DevHub. So it's up to the cool. So, and there is a question in the chat that I'm reading right now. Will be there a position description anywhere? So there is no one to interview the person, to be honest. But at the same time, we have the model is a bit different that we operate in it. So there are RFPs, requests for proposals, and the proposals that people can put there. I know that it's different from employment, so it's not for everyone, but we are exploring this direction.
Yeah, and while we are on this topic, since Vlad, you're representing not only near dev but the infrastructure community, it's like, is there any plan if, for example, we don't find, or at least our community does not have the capability of taking this ownership at the moment, for be it for wallet selector or near API JS, would it be viable of trying to outreach to reach outside of our community, like different teams? I know that we have had like different teams taking or supporting to an extent some of those libraries, and how can we as a community try to enhance that we are searching for maintainers?
I can share the experience searching for teams that were not really interested in building stuff, but they were interested in just getting the money. That didn't play well. and it requires a lot of then management from our side or from whoever, but we are actually looking for a person to internalize and learn the challenges, pass it through themselves, and come up with opinionated design that would reflect their vision and drive it, and we are offering the funding for that. So
I just wanted to agree with Vlad about the idea that you cannot build the good product if you don't use it. If you don't feel the pain of the regular user, if you don't meet this pain every day, you cannot efficiently solve it. So this is what I believe. So definitely you need to have the idea around, know the pain of the people, of the teams, and only after that you can solve it. This is what I think about this.
Yeah, I want to add something. I want to add something on top of that, because what you said is not minor. I believe that what you say is very much true. And something else, like something that we found when we were trying to get people from, you just go and hire a company to fix the problem. Something that you will find, pretty much soon, is that if they don't actually, care about the community, or if they're actually not suffering also the pain points, they just don't understand what is important or not. And also they never take the initiative of saying like, and you know what, I saw also that Beta is trying to do this, and therefore we could help like this, or like now that near intent is coming, maybe we could just be proactive and add this other thing. And that's what I was saying also before about like finding someone is not just, like having ownership is not only, fixing PRs, because that's, that's doable. It's also about like making decisions. Like, believe it or not, at some point, Ilya is not telling me what am I supposed to be doing with documentation. I just go look what the community needs and what other people need, and I just go and do it. And we would need exactly the same, right? Like someone that not only suffers but also cares so much and so deeply about our community that they take proactive actions to make the user experience better. And that's what makes it so hard to find someone.
Amazing. And since we just about crossed the hour, I would like to ask if any one of you have any closing thoughts. Otherwise, we can close this session off and have a little bit of thought of how we can not only proceed but collaborate further. So if any of you have final thoughts.
I don't have a final thought, but I will have a final action item call for everyone is to go check out the RFPs on the infrastructure committee. I hope Ludmil will include the link in the video recording below. And there are several projects that actually are promoted there. They are more or less interconnected at this point. You can name them as onboarding experience, and you can be the owner. So consider doing that. Looking for teams.
Thanks a lot Thanks everyone for being here. For those of you watching, once again, if you want to present your work, suggest discussion topics, or want to get involved, join our Telegram group. This was the Tools Call, and we have those every second Tuesday of the month. So if you want to present, join us on the next one. Otherwise, I would like to thank every one of you for joining this call and being here. And I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you.